Let me start by asking you a simple question. What would your life look like if you did what you know you should do every single day? Think about that. Not once in a while. Not just when you're feeling motivated, but every single day. Waking up early, following through, saying no to distractions, saying yes to your future. That, my friend, is the power of discipline. Discipline is not a punishment. It's not about being hard on yourself. It's not about grinding endlessly. Discipline is a gift. It's the pathway to freedom. It's the secret to confidence. And it's the difference between a life of regret and a life of fulfillment. See, most people don't fail because they're not talented. Most people don't fall short because they lack opportunity. They fail because they lack discipline. They start strong, but they don't finish. They set goals, but they don't follow through. They make promises to themselves, but they break them quietly, one at a time. And that, slowly, destroys belief, destroys momentum, destroys potential. But here's the good news. You can change it all, right here, right now, with one decision, to become a person of discipline. Because once you master discipline, you can master anything. Discipline is how you build a business. Discipline is how you build a body. Discipline is how you build a future. And discipline is how you build yourself. So, stay with me, because in the next few moments, we're going to break down the most powerful force behind every great success story. Not luck, not talent, not connections. Discipline. Let's begin. We must all suffer one of two things: the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Now, that's a line worth remembering. In fact, it's a line that changed my life. Because life doesn't let you escape pain. It just gives you a choice. You can suffer the pain of discipline, getting up early, staying late, doing what's required, or you can suffer the pain of regret, wishing you had, wishing you'd tried, wishing you hadn't waited so long. Discipline may weigh ounces. Regret, tons. Let me take you back to when I was a young man. Broke, embarrassed, no money in the bank, living in America, the richest country in the world, with nothing to show for it. And I remember thinking, something has to change. Then I heard something. A mentor said to me, "Jim, for things to change, you have to change. For things to get better, you have to get better." That hit me like a brick, because I realized it wasn't the economy. It wasn't the government. It wasn't my upbringing. It was me, my habits, my thinking, my level of discipline. See, everyone wants success, but not everyone wants to do what success requires. Success is not an event. It's not a lucky break. It's a process. And the foundation of that process is discipline. You don't need to be smarter than everyone. You don't need to have perfect circumstances. You just need to be willing to show up, to learn, and to stay the course. Because the truth is, discipline is what builds the structure of your life. Every routine, every habit, every decision you make when no one's watching, that's the cement, the brick, the steel. And every time you keep your word to yourself, you lay another stone. People ask, "Jim, how do I become successful?" And I tell them, start with the first discipline. Wake up when you said you would. Read a few pages every day. Save a little money. Make that extra phone call. Follow through on your promises. Because once you master a few simple disciplines, you gain momentum. And once you have momentum, you become unbreakable. Discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent. It's not about doing everything. It's about doing what matters, over and over and over again. So the next time you're tempted to skip, delay, or excuse yourself out of action, remember this. Discipline doesn't take. Discipline gives. It gives you pride. It gives you progress. It gives you power. And most of all, it gives you freedom. Yes, freedom. See, when you're disciplined, you control your time. You control your energy. You control your life. That's the irony. Discipline feels like restriction in the beginning, but it leads to ultimate liberation in the end. Let me repeat that. Discipline is the foundation upon which all success is built. Lack of discipline inevitably leads to failure. So today, ask yourself, what do I need to do? That I've been putting off? What promise have I made? That I've yet to keep? And what kind of life could I build? If I simply practiced a few simple disciplines every single day, don't wait. Don't wish. Don't hope. Discipline is the foundation. Start laying the bricks today. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Now let's pause on that. Not every week. Not every month. Every day. That's the secret. That's the difference between a life of achievement and a life of frustration. It's not some grand strategy. It's not some breakthrough idea. It's a few small things done with consistency. Let me tell you, you don't have to change your entire life in one night. You don't need a revolution. What you need is daily discipline. The discipline to read 10 pages a day. The discipline to eat one healthy meal instead of fast food. The discipline to say no to what doesn't serve your future. The discipline to make one more phone call, to follow up, to stay just a little longer than everyone else. That's how you win. But here's the catch. It doesn't feel like winning at first, because discipline is quiet. There's no audience, no applause. No one's watching you decline that dessert, or hit the gym, or write that page. But you know, and when you keep showing up, even when it's hard, even when it's boring, even when it feels like nothing's changing, something is changing. You are changing. What you do every day matters more than what you do once in a while. Let that sink in. See, one workout won't change your body. One book won't change your mind. One day of effort won't make you wealthy. But one day stacked on another, and another, and another, that's how empires are built. That's how legacies are made. That's how a life transforms. But here's what most people do. They wait for motivation. They wait to feel like it. They wait for the mood to strike. Let me tell you, if you wait to feel ready, you'll wait forever. Discipline says, I don't need to feel like it. I just need to do it. And the beauty is this. Once you act with discipline, motivation follows. Momentum begins. And once you catch momentum, success is no longer uphill. It becomes your rhythm. Discipline, day by day, rewires your mind. It sharpens your focus. It strengthens your will. It elevates your standards. And soon, you don't even recognize the person you used to be. You stop making excuses. You stop chasing distractions. You stop betraying yourself, because discipline builds trust, not with others, but with yourself. And when you trust yourself, when you know you'll do what you said you would, you become unstoppable. You don't need anyone to push you. You don't need to be told twice. You don't need reminders or deadlines or pressure. You become your own source of power. Discipline is the foundation of a successful, productive, and meaningful life. So let me challenge you today. Don't underestimate the power of a single day. Because every day you say yes to discipline, you say yes to your future. You don't need a miracle. You just need a method. And the method is simple. One page at a time. One choice at a time. One small discipline repeated until it becomes who you are. Don't aim for perfection. Aim for consistency. That's how lives change. So, what's one discipline you can start today? Because the secret is out. Small daily disciplines lead to lifelong results. Discipline is the bridge between thought and accomplishment. Now that's a powerful thought, because every idea you have, every goal you write down, every dream you dream at night, it all stays just a dream until discipline shows up. Discipline is what turns thinking into doing. And let me tell you something that's true for all of us. If you don't learn to master your mind will master you. Your thoughts, they can be your greatest ally or your biggest enemy. You see, the mind is like a garden. You can cultivate it. You can plant good seeds, or you can let it grow weeds. The weeds of doubt, the weeds of procrastination, the weeds of fear. Now here's the key. If you don't discipline your thoughts, those weeds will take over. You won't even need to invite them. They'll just show up, because neglect is all it takes for the mind to spiral. Stand guard at the door of your mind. I heard that years ago, and I never forgot it. You've got to protect your mind. Feed it with good information. Surround it with strong ideas. And most importantly, challenge it. Train it. Discipline it. Because here's what most people don't realize. Your emotions will lie to you. Your feelings will fool you. Your impulses will lead you astray. But discipline brings clarity. Discipline says, I know I don't feel like it today, but I do it anyway. Discipline says, I might be tired, I might be afraid, I might be unsure, but I take the next step anyway. Now that's mastery. That's the quiet strength of a disciplined mind. Let me give you a little picture. Imagine waking up, and instead of hitting snooze, you sit up and say, let's go. Not because it's easy, not because it's comfortable, but because you've trained your mind to follow through. That doesn't happen by accident. It happens through repetition, through routine, through choice. Don't let your learning lead to knowledge. Let your learning lead to action. That's what separates the dreamers from the doers. The undisciplined mind collects information, but the disciplined mind creates transformation. Now, I'm not talking about ignoring your feelings. No, we're human. We all get tired. We all get discouraged. We all have doubts. But don't let those emotions drive the car. Let them sit in the passenger seat. Discipline is the driver. Discipline says, I acknowledge how I feel, but I move forward anyway. That's the beauty of a strong mind. It becomes your anchor in the storm. And when you're anchored, you don't quit when it's tough. You don't fold under pressure. You don't lose yourself in chaos. Instead, you rise. You adapt. You execute. You keep your vision clear because your mind is trained to focus. Let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to drift? You open your phone to check one message, and 30 minutes later, you're lost in nonsense. That's not just technology. That's a lack of mental discipline. And every day you allow that drift, you weaken your mental muscles. But every time you catch yourself and say, number, that's not what I'm here for, you strengthen your mind. That's discipline. And here's something else. A disciplined mind creates peace. People think discipline is stressful, but the truth is undisciplined living is what creates stress. When you're scattered, when you procrastinate, when you avoid the hard things, you create a life of anxiety. But when your mind is clear, when your thoughts are aligned with your actions, when you know what matters and stick to it, you create peace. Without discipline, the mind is weak. With discipline, the mind becomes a force. So today, I challenge you, start watching your thoughts. Start interrupting the patterns that don't serve you. Start talking back to the excuses. Start showing your mind who's in charge. Because when you master your mind through discipline, you master your time, you master your focus, and you master your life. It's not magic. It's not luck. It's not even talent. It's discipline. And it starts right now. Time is more valuable than money. You can get more money, but you cannot get more time. Now that's worth repeating. You can earn more money, but once the hour is gone, once the day is done, that time is never coming back. So the question becomes, how are you spending your time? More importantly, are you using discipline to protect it? Let me tell you something. Time is always moving. Every day, the clock ticks. Every hour the sun rises and sets. The poor and the rich, the young and the old, we all get the same 24 hours. Success doesn't belong to those who have more time. It belongs to those who use it with discipline. Because here's the truth. Either you run the day or the day runs you. Now ask yourself, who's in charge of your day? See, discipline and time, they are partners. They walk hand in hand. Without discipline, time slips away. Without time, discipline has nowhere to go. But when you marry the two, you create a force of progress that's unstoppable. Let me paint you a picture. A man wakes up with no plan, no structure, no priorities. And the day, it runs him over. He reacts to everything. Phone calls, notifications, distractions. He puts out fires, but he never builds anything. Now contrast that with a person of discipline. They wake up with intention. They schedule their time. They don't just list what needs to get done. They do it. They understand. Every hour has value. Every minute has meaning. Don't major in minor things. That's what discipline teaches you. Because when you don't have discipline, everything feels urgent. Everything feels important. You become a victim of noise. Busy, but not productive. But when you're disciplined, you filter. You focus. You say no more often than you say yes. You understand that time is limited, so you spend it on what truly matters. Discipline teaches you to guard your time like treasure, because that's what it is. Now here's a question. How do you get more out of your 24 hours? Simple. You don't need more hours. You need more discipline inside each hour. The discipline to plan your morning. The discipline to cut off distractions. The discipline to finish what you started. And here's what happens. One focused hour, one disciplined hour, can be more powerful than 8 scattered ones. Why? Because time doesn't multiply. Discipline does. Let me give you a simple truth. Every successful person you admire, they've mastered time through discipline. They don't spend hours thinking about what to do. They do it. They show up. They execute day after day. And here's the irony. Discipline doesn't take away your freedom. It creates it. When you manage your time with discipline, you buy back your life. You make room for growth. You make space for peace. You eliminate the chaos of always being behind. That's real freedom. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. And one of those disciplines is how you spend your time. Because time doesn't care about your dreams. Time doesn't slow down when you're confused. Time doesn't stop just because you're tired. Time keeps moving. But discipline is how you catch up. Discipline is how you stay ahead. Discipline is how you use time instead of losing it. So let me ask you, what are you doing with your hours? Are you wasting them? Are you letting them drift away? Or are you using discipline to turn time into progress? Because that's the partnership that builds empires. That's the alliance that creates legacies. Discipline, time, power. Don't trade your hours for distractions. Don't sell your days for convenience. Trade your time for growth. Trade your minutes for mastery. Trade your mornings for momentum. And one day, you'll look back and you'll be grateful you did. Discipline weighs ounces. Regret weighs tons. Now that's a quote I've carried with me for years. And every time I think about it, it stops me in my tracks. Because when we talk about discipline, we're not talking about punishment. We're not talking about restriction. We're talking about freedom. Yes, freedom. Freedom to build the life you want instead of the life you're stuck with. Freedom to choose your path instead of following the one that others expect from you. Discipline is not a prison. Discipline is the key. And when you use that key consistently, day after day, you unlock power and you begin building something that will outlast you. Legacy. You see, without discipline, dreams dissolve. Ideas fade. Talents rust. Potential remains buried. But with discipline, with daily focused action, you rise. You move from average to extraordinary. You turn promises into proof. You go from I hope to I did. That's the power of discipline. We must all suffer one of two things, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. I chose discipline because regret is a cruel teacher. Regret says you could have, you should have, you didn't, But discipline says, you did. You showed up. You earned it. Now I want you to understand something. Discipline isn't just for work. It's not just about waking up early or grinding at the gym. Discipline shapes everything. It shapes the way you treat people. It shapes the way you handle your finances. It shapes how you speak, how you think, how you live. It touches your character. Because when you are disciplined, you keep your promises. You do the right thing even when no one's watching. And that's how trust is built. That's how reputation is formed. That's how legacies are born. Let me ask you a question. What if the only thing standing between you and the life you truly want is discipline, not talent, not luck, not even opportunity, just discipline? The decision to do the uncomfortable now so you can enjoy the rewards later. The decision to say no to what's easy so you can say yes to what's meaningful. The decision to rise a little earlier, push a little harder, and think a little deeper. That's what separates those who leave a mark from those who just drift through life. Success is not to be pursued. It is to be attracted by the person you become. And who do you become? When you live with discipline, you become someone that others respect. You become someone you respect. You become someone who leads, who serves, who inspires. You become the kind of person who builds something that lives on long after you're gone. Now, I know it's not easy. Discipline is hard. It asks for sacrifice. It asks for focus. It asks for maturity. But let me tell you, discipline gives back more than it takes. It gives you clarity. It gives you strength. It gives you freedom. Not the kind of freedom that fades with the weekend, but the kind of freedom that lasts a lifetime. So today, ask yourself, what kind of life do I want to live? What kind of person do I want to become? What kind of legacy do I want to leave? And whatever your answer is, discipline is the bridge. It's not luck. It's not magic. It's not a secret. It's just you making the small, right choice over and over again. And the beautiful part, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be committed. You just have to begin right here, right now, because discipline is everything. It's the foundation of success, the fuel for your habits, the guard for your mind, the guardian of your time, and the builder of your legacy. Start today. One step, one habit, one choice at a time. And watch what happens when discipline becomes your way of life.